Savvy Business Radio, drawing out the best from our guests with our host, Christina Nichman.
Our guest today is Bonnie Sussman-Versace. Today on Savvy Business Radio, we discuss the disengagement of the American worker and how businesses can create a culture that attracts the best talent. She shares her insightful wisdom on this topic and her latest book, Recipes for Thoughtful Leadership and Healthy Culture. Find out more and get a copy of her book today at focusedllc.net/recipe-book. And that is focused at FOCUSEDLLC.net. Hi, Bonnie. Welcome to Savvy Business Radio. How are you this afternoon?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous, even more so that you're here to get our business owners focused and on target with building an awesome culture that can help them thrive. Out there's a lot of businesses that are, it's funny, I'm a business consultant. So I'll go into Manhattan and they'll say, okay, we're having some issues. Money isn't where it should be. We're not bringing in the money we want. What's going on? And they perceive that everything's rocking and rolling. Our customers love us. Our employees couldn't be happier. Then I start sitting down and talking to people and I get a totally different flavor. And it's interesting that sometimes business owners are not really connected to knowing really how well they're doing. So share what even brought you to the world of focus and building focus and your book.
What gets you here isn't what keeps you here. You know that expression, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of a journey. I grew up in my parents' clothing business, my retail clothing, and I used to watch my mother had a special gift, and she was able to help primarily women that had maybe some major surgeries, find clothing that made them feel good about themselves again, like being able to get into a bathing suit after they've had possibly a double mastectomy and actually feel good. And they would walk out of the dressing room in tears. And I saw this as a 12, 13-year-old, and I thought, wow, that's pretty interesting. Never really connecting the dots, but as a young adult, until I got into the business world myself, started realizing how important it is to be able to help people feel better about themselves like that, because it makes you feel good about yourself. It makes you feel good about what you're doing. So it's this constant flow. Mm-hmm. I wound up by design, wound up being in commercial interiors for almost 40 years, and had a business where we would do everything from help companies find a piece of real estate, to design it, to build it, to fit it out, furnish it, move them if need be, and then turn the key over after the job was finished. Mm-hmm. And as a consultant doing that kind of work and really getting to know the companies and, people, the business owners, and I'm talking some very, very large companies, some at the time Fortune 100s, as well as very small mom and pops. They really wanted to make the environment better for their people. Okay, sounds good, right? Mm-hmm. Some places we would go back in, we had a very high repeat and refer rate, so we were at about an average of 83% for 20 consecutive years, which is pretty outstanding, and I'm very proud of that. I had a fabulous team. We'd go back into a job, get that proverbial phone call, hey, we need to expand, or we want to move, or we want to do this. And some places we'd go back in, and it was like we never left. It was like the day we left the job site. And then other places we would go to, it would be like, please don't tell anybody we were here. Don't ever say that we were part of this, because the spaces would look awful, garbage overflowing, in the dumpster, the property was overgrown, just bad, really bad, like bad karma, bad visuals, bad environment. So I I got to the point after seeing this a couple times to finally get up enough nerve to ask the owner or the company leader, what's going on here? Well, people never care about, they never treat things the same way if unless it was theirs, or I'd hate to see where they live or how they live at home. They probably don't take care of that either. And the reality of it is, it's your culture. How are you treating the people? So you spent all this money, millions of dollars, to do this project, and what's going on here? Are you not treating your people? Are they not feeling valued? The material things are just stuff. It's just stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's how you are at the heart. Are you connecting with your people? And from what you're saying, with when you go into New York and you talk to and they're not connecting. Yeah. We need that. We're human. We need that from the time we're born. We need that connection.
Well, can I ask you a quick question there?
Yeah, please.
Working with business owners and myself working with them, why do you think sometimes they're just not realizing, a business owner, why things are not the way they are? Like, they're not connected to reality. Because it's not all businesses, but I'll go in, they'll think things are rocking and rolling, and it's not. Why do you think their perception's off?
Well, I think, and I can tell you this because I sat in that seat and I was there for many of the years I was in business until I finally woke up. We're risk takers. Mm-hmm. And along with being risk takers as an entrepreneur, we get so focused on the end goal. We are not always looking at all the pieces it takes to make that end goal happen. Mm-hmm. So we lose sight of the important stuff and the things that we learn along the way. Mm-hmm. If I get a business owner that says to me, I want to grow my business, I hold up a piece of paper and I go, this is your business. Mm-hmm. It's a document. It's a piece of paper. It's a stock certificate. It's a whatever, but it's a piece of paper. Mm-hmm. If you want your business to grow, you need to grow your people. Mm. You need to grow your people so the business isn't so reliant on you as the owner or the leader, mm-hmm. That you're not being pulled in all these millions of directions. And you can let them grow and help them grow, nurture them along so that they can then take over the responsibilities of being able to run the company and grow the company and do the things. Otherwise, I mean, how can you have a sustainable, viable company long term if the people are too reliant on you, or if you're a much bigger company, if you're thousands of employees, mm-hmm. how can it work if everybody's too reliant on their managers or their supervisors?
Yeah. And how does it happen for a business, whatever side you are, that you can get a true pulse of where you really are? Because I don't believe you can
walk around and talk to people. Actually, if you're in manufacturing, go on the floor, walk around, talk to the people behind the machines or whatever it is that they're doing. How's your day going? Hey, I understand that you're working on a special project. How's it going? Mm-hmm. Truly care about them, but truly show an interest so that they can feel connected to you or connected to the supervisor, whoever it is that's leading them. Mm-hmm. We put people into management positions mm-hmm. to lead people, but we don't teach them how to lead people. We mm-hmm. teach them how to manage things, and then they think by managing people, it's kind of like disconnected.
Yeah, I love that you said that, Bonnie, because very early on in my managerial experience, I had just gotten started as a manager, and I was like, I want to make stuff happen for this department, help us grow. And I thought, by helping it grow, we all win, we all get bonuses, whatever it is. But I was told in my first review that you're treating everyone, I'm getting feedback from the employees, that you're treating them like machines. They don't feel that you're treating them like a human being. And I was blown away because I didn't know that they were getting that impression. So he said, and he gave me some advice. He said, you know what? You never say hello to people. You're not engaging with the subordinates, the people who are working for you. connect with them, find out who they are as people. And so that was his first advice. And, he gave me a couple other tips. And I went the next day and I made a point to walk around to every desk, say, "Hi, Linda, how you doing today?" They're looking at me like, "What? What do you want? Did I do something wrong?" Like, why are you talking to me?
The suspicion.
I know. And it was, in the beginning, it was a little suspicious. People were a little like, "What do you want? What are you doing?"
Yeah.
But when they began to realize I didn't have any ulterior motive, I was just saying hi, getting to know them. We do like things on Friday. I bring in coffee or cake or whatever. It just started to bring a environment where they felt more open to talk to me, felt like I was approachable. And that particular next quarter we kicked butt. And people were like, they loved working there even more. So for me, it was a big indication. I personally was doing a good job, but without bringing the human element in, we couldn't all gel and connect.
Yeah, that's Christina. You have it exactly correct.
Yeah, it's hard to see that because I think what it is as a leader, or if you're a business owner and it's a smaller place, it's really to be okay with the criticism that, okay, you're not perfect. That's cool. You got to look at where you're at in order to go forward. And now, okay, here's some things that are missing that need to be made better. What can we do to make it better?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you get the team involved and instead of, like I help clients learn how to ask questions rather than tell people what to do. So, okay, you have this project, you're leading someone and they have a project you've given them. Maybe it's not so much about, I need you to do this, but it's, here's what needs to get done. Here's the expectation. How might we do this? What ideas do you have? How can we accomplish this? So now you've got them invested and vested. So they're taking part, they're taking ownership. Now it's theirs. Rather than saying, do this. I need you to do this.
Yeah. Oh, I love that you just went here because a lot of the businesses I'll go into, one of the things I see, and I don't think managers, supervisors, business owners realize they do this, is they kind of, these are my people, kind of like my minions. And they feel just like that. I'm your slave. And who likes to be a slave? No one. So I had them realize, no, these aren't your people. They're working with you to create this, to make it happen. How about you see them as an integral part of making it happen? Because I see the word team used all over these, my team. But the way they use the word team is really I. It's like, it's not really we, it's I. And it's all about my team. Yeah, I own these peeps. They're going to do what I tell them to do. And I'm like, okay, how about we take a step back instead of mi gente, or my people? Let's look at it from, okay, what can we do? And this is not reality, but Star Trek's one of my favorite shows. And Captain Picard, he walks in and there's a problem. He says to all his mage peeps of each department, okay, let me hear your ideas. Like, here's the problem. Let me hear your ideas. So he is doing just what you were talking about here. He's a real leader. He's not scared by other people's ideas. He's the one to make the final call on the ship. Yeah, we get that. But he really wants to hear and have everyone be an integral part, all of his management team, and making things right. So there's valuable lessons there.
Yeah, it's fair. It's applying fair process. So when you apply fair process and you let people know, that you're going to get, you want their input because you have to make decisions about things. You want to hear what they have to say, but you may not necessarily use their input, but it's going to help you to make a better qualified decision. And then if you don't use their input, then give them the why. Here's why. Actually, it helped me to get to this point of being able to make XYZ decision. So fair process in leadership is also very critical.
Also, it makes people get on board with the direction you end up taking.
Yeah.
When you end up saying, okay, team, do this, and I'm ordering you to do this, and there's no reason, whatever, just do this. And they don't feel like they're an integral part. You're just telling me to do stuff. And here's another thing, a piece I get from some managers or business owners. They kind of feel like they're the lord of this company. And no one, when you come from that stance,
I hear that.
I'm saying, right? When you come from that stance, like, you're my people. I mean, you're not going to get people wanting to fall on the ground and come in on weekends and do whatever it takes to make stuff happen. Unless you make them an integral part, you are part of this process. We're building this company together. They'll want to come in because they're part of the process, part of the building company, and they'll come in on the weekend, work overtime, as opposed to making it all about you.
Yeah. Dale Carnegie had a great quote about, if you get people engaged in the process and get people engaged in creating the environment or whatever that they're going to live in. I'm paraphrasing very poorly, but get them to be part of it. The engagement level is going to be that much higher.
Yeah.
So you consider we have 28 million businesses, give or take, in the U.S. Mm-hmm. So 22 million, roughly, small business, small to mid-size, say, 250 and under?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, that's a lot of companies. It's a lot of learning. And I would, if I had to take a guess, I would say probably like maybe the top level, maybe 10% are really paying attention to how we're teaching leadership and how we're working on our culture. And some companies just don't feel they need it.
Yeah. And it'll be their demise if they are not doing well to not look at them, if they don't look at themselves. Now, you mentioned being a designer and working in that area. How important is aesthetics and the environment to the overall success of a business and the employees feeling valued or being comfortable there?
Tremendous. It's, I think I just lost the picture here, but it's tremendous because when people can come into, and that's why I did it for so many years, when people can come into the workplace and have an environment that they feel comfortable with, and that they're, so, all right, I'll give you it's better by example sometimes.
Okay.
When we come into the workplace and we're dealing with lighting that doesn't interact well or play well with our computers, and we go home every day with a headache or a backache or something else, that's not good. That's controllable. That's controllable.
Yeah.
So if we think about it in terms of something as, I don't want to say as simple as that, because it's really not. But if we think in terms of how does that work, the aesthetic side of it, if it's a pleasing environment, if it's a comfortable environment, and if it's functional. So we worked backwards, actually, in my previous company. So we worked from the functional perspective first, and then did all the pretty stuff after that.
Yeah.
So the spaces had to function properly, and they had to be adequate for people and more than adequate for people. But to make sure that because we're at work for the majority of our waking hours, so doing it from the aesthetic perspective, improving the quality of life was pretty important. So now with the work that I do, it's from the human dynamic perspective, and it's a lot deeper.
It is. It's a whole encompassing picture, Bonnie. And what's interesting, I've walked into businesses where they're kind of living in a hole in the wall. Like there's windows and the desks are on top of each other. Yeah. And then people are coming in sweats and torn sweats at that. And it almost looks like they have an invisible chain that I don't see, but they have one. And they're miserable and they look depressed. And one company I went in, they felt they had money problems. So they said they were going to cut the water. They had this big water bottle, Poland water, and they were going to stop the coffee. And one of the employees about had a nervous breakdown, was ready to leave, quit. And I was like, whoa. But, when you look at it, you can see why, because it was kind of like the breaking point. It's like, okay, I come to this hole in the wall, no windows. The desks are ugly. We're on top of each other. And now you're cutting my water or coffee, man?
But I'll tell you something. I've been in businesses that are like that the physical environment is ridiculous. I mean, disgusting. But the people they love each other, they're happy, they work well together. And that's the other side of it. That's when you know that you've got a great business owner. The property is not important. It's the connection that they're making with the people.
Yeah.
And there are probably thousands of companies out there that are like that.
Yeah.
And then I say to them, don't change anything. Don't do maybe get a cleaning company in once a month to empty the trash cans and clean up the carpet or whatever, but don't change anything because this is a formula that's working.
Yeah. Well, it depends on where you're at. I mean, one business owner told me when he got started, to make an environment that made him excited to go to work, he didn't even have a desk. What he had is a cardboard box. He got a tablecloth for the box so you couldn't tell, you were looking at a box. And he put a nice little flower on it. Yeah. So he could feel, it gives you that presence of, oh, this feels awesome, right?
It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, sometimes you got to work with what you got. So it's more about work with what you got, but then pay attention to the whole human element. And for this woman, you're right. It could have been the most awesome company ever. And that, people are treating each other with respect. You like the work, the people are awesome. The company's awesome. And then I think if they had eliminated the coffee for a while because of budget, she would have been okay. But in this particular company, the reason why she, I think, broke was because everything wasn't okay. And the coffee and the water was just the breaking point. It was just like, okay, that's it.
Yeah. And people see it and people feel it and they react to it accordingly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was a good lesson for me to realize that. But now when you wrote the book, what was the reason for writing the book? Who were you trying to reach?
So the book. I had been writing articles for a regional business journal for probably 7 or 8 years, and I had a colleague that said, I have business owner forum groups, peer groups, and I have emerging leaders, and I have the next gens. So he said, we were out to lunch one day, and he says, you really ought to take all of these articles because they're a great resource and put them into a book and give them to your clients that are in your roundtable groups. And I'm going, what does he mean? So he's an educator. So I'm thinking, what is he saying? Is this like photocopy the articles, put them in a 3-ring binder, maybe from his perspective, but me as a designer, I'm going, that's not going to work. So I kept thinking about how I loved the idea, but how could I do this? And then it became, like, okay, got to get a little creative here and we need to do something about that. So the idea just came up for doing a recipe book because they're all 700-800 word stories and they're recipes. So I did a 10-minute brain dump, if you will, with my creative creative graphics company, and they landed it right away. Sorry, I've got a puppy barking in the background.
I know,
I'm trying to get my husband. Sorry about that.
No worries.
But
just to get an idea, so your book is made to look like a recipe book, but it's really stories and experiences that really bring home the message of each chapter of what you're trying to do. The businesses get more focused and bring that human element and bring everything together to thrive.
Absolutely. And they're easy. I mean, they're 700 to 800 words. They're 10-minute reads, if that. And then as we started thinking about, this book, as it started coming together, I thought, it'd be awesome also to put some food in there because we like to eat. And I went and talked to several regional restaurant owners, although there is one recipe in there from Cape Town, South Africa, which is another story, but put actual food recipes in from different restaurants and wove that into the culture and leadership stories. And then had clients, people that were reading the book. Actually, the first month after it was released, I got an email from one of the readers, and they said, have to tell you a story. Can you call me? So I called him and he says, we have an on-site kitchen here. Mm-hmm. And he said, we took these stories mm-hmm. and the food recipes, and we decided to get our less seasoned, his words, less seasoned supervisors and managers together. Mm-hmm. Everybody was assigned or selected a food recipe. They brought all the ingredients mm-hmm. to the kitchen. They did this over the course of like a month.
Okay.
The book. And they had done it, at that point, they had done this twice now. Mm-hmm. And so they cooked the recipe, they ate, and then they read one of the leadership or culture recipes in the book, mm-hmm. and everybody walked away with, this is what I'm going to do.
That's great.
So they did a great team building exercise, mm-hmm. and then they were able to have discussion about, leadership and culture, and they're starting to build on that. I've since had a couple other folks tell me the same thing, that they've used it in that way.
It's a great idea.
And then I had someone ask, gee, well, we want to hand this book out for the holidays to our customers and to our employees and our vendors. Can you do a private label version? I'm like, absolutely. I don't care if my name's on the book, company name, that can go bye-bye. I don't care. So we started doing that. And now I've recently had someone ask, well, you have because they know they were following my writing for years, and they said, we know that you've been writing for a long time. You probably have a whole bank of stories that you can share. Could you do this as a subscription? I'm like, another idea. So
that's how entrepreneurship works. It just keeps
evolving.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's been quite a wonderful journey.
I'm sure it has, and it sounds like it has. But introduce me to your peeps. I know that your doggy buddies are in the next room. Who are they? What's their names?
The black and white little girl that you see on my website is Abby, and the little boy is Sammy.
I have a Henry myself who's out.
Henry,
he's playing with his doggy buddies right now. He goes to doggy playtime on Saturdays. So
that's wonderful, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So this has been such a blessing. I'm hoping that all the businesses listening in feel focused to go to your website so they can get on board, bring all of their employees, their vendors together to build and thrive the best business ever. Where can they do that, and where can they get a copy of your book?
Okay, thank you. It's available on Amazon, but it's also available on my website. If you go on just focused, FOCUSED, LLC.net to the website, you can order the book there, or if people want to email me, it's bversace@focusedllc.net. Mm-hmm. And, we can send out as many copies. I do discounts on multiple copies. And I can also make a special offer, if you'd like, for your listeners.
I'd love that. Thank you.
Okay. So I still write articles, and I love to interview people for the articles because I love, including real stories. And if any of your listeners want to reach out, either through you or directly, whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay.
I'll put a copy, a complimentary copy of the book, autographed copy of the book in the mail to them.
So let them know your website or how they can get in contact with you.
Okay, so it's focused, FOCUSED, LLC.net. Mm-hmm. They're welcome to call me at 610-301-2194 or text me. And the email address is bversace or bversace at focusedllc.net.
Awesome. Well, Bonnie, this has been such a wonderful time this Saturday speaking to you. Thank you so much for coming to Savvy Business Radio.
No, thank you very much. Enjoyed it as well. Be well.
Be well.
Thank you.
Savvy Business Radio broadcasts worldwide via a large podcast network, celebrating business owners, entrepreneurs, influencers, and successful individuals. Find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest. Call 732-474-7375 or email Christina at SavvyBusinessRadio.com.